Hello and welcome to the Work for Change podcast. My name is Jean, spelled like Jean.
And my name is John with the silent H. Thank you so much for joining us for episode 67 of the Work for Change podcast. The first broadcast in a while. The Glaudecast podcast. Just us two hanging out.
Glaudecast podcast.
It's been a while.
We thought about naming it that.
No, we didn't.
I thought about it.
That was a dumb thought is what that was.
If I were to create my own podcast, it would be called the Glaudecast, and it would outdo this one.
What would it be about?
You know, it would just be a whole bunch of analogies. That's literally all it would be. So it's just analogy after analogy.
Life is like a box of chocolates, all right? I'm not sure if you guys have heard about this.
Yeah, but it's not like your standard box of chocolate. It's like an expired box of chocolates.
Forrest Gump said you never know what you're going to get, but what he doesn't know, if you turn it over, you actually do know what you're going to get.
It's simple.
Simple. Life
Quite
is
really.
simple, yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, we thought about a couple names. I don't know. Work for Change was kind of like, we had that before we had the podcast.
Yeah, Work for Change was something I wrote down in my notes app, I don't know, probably over a year before we started the podcast, before it was a thing. It was just like a thought that I had. And then I had messed with it a little bit with certain things. Nothing ever really stuck. And then when we kind of decided, let's do a podcast together, I think it was the first name, and you were like, yeah, sounds good.
Well, you like have this like story in your head of what happened.
Is that not what happened?
And you always forget that I was talking to you. We were walking down North Park, and I said, if you want change, you have to work for it.
Yeah.
You have to work for change.
I wasn't sure if you were with me when that happened.
And then you went, I like that, and you took out your phone and put it in your notes. But it wasn't like you just had this like spark of lightning that hit you.
Well, but the spark of lightning was you saying that, but you didn't think it was profound, but I felt like it was profound. So
I was just riffing.
Yeah, you were just riffing.
Which is what I do on this podcast anyway.
Which is what the Glaudecast podcast would be if it
literally
existed.
just straight riffs. Yeah. You never know, like
just
when
saying
you listen,
useless platitudes the whole time.
Like when you listen, you never know if it's gonna be like me riffing with like analogies or just pull out a guitar and I'm just like,
gosh.
and I don't riff, so it'll just be like this. Just imagine a whole podcast of me doing that.
That no one would listen is what.
Or it would get a cult following. Stuff like that happens.
Who? Masochists?
Yeah. Stuff like that happens where it's like, what is that movie that's like not that good, but The Room.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's like people, there's a following for it.
Yeah, I mean, I guess. I don't know if there'd be a following for that.
Or like,
you could try it.
There's like that
see what
Instagram
happens.
page where it's like what is it called? Like badly drawn something, or it's like the aliens who are like,
oh yeah,
and they're like talking about burritos and swaddle the food. That actually takes talent.
Yeah,
I'm not saying my
I don't
stuff
know.
is like that, but I just wanted to bring up that Instagram page because
Instagram
we
page
are
is very good.
sponsored by. No, I'm just kidding.
No, that'd be pretty smooth though.
I know.
Also, so before we get too deep into the podcast, if you do hear any weird humming or anything like that, we had to have the AC on today. It was very, very hot in the room. The room that we use for the podcast has just windows as one of the walls, and it basically turns into think of like a magnifying glass with a
greenhouse.
sun. Yeah, it gets very hot in here. So if you can hear it, we apologize. We'll work on trying to get it out in post, but if you hear a little bit of it, we're sorry.
Also, if you haven't already, we have an Instagram page that we would love for you to follow. It's at Work for Change Podcast, where we post when we have episodes up. Sometimes we post embarrassing stories of each other. Sometimes we just post stuff for you to know, stuff for you to vote on, whatever we're feeling like. So if you want to give us a follow at Work for Change Podcast, we'd love for you to follow our page. And then also, if you're listening on iTunes or Spotify or any podcast platform and you can leave a review, that'd be sick if you did it.
The thing that I like about the Instagram page is that it's somewhere where people can talk about the episode, or you guys could even say, hey, I like this or I didn't like that. Like, it's just somewhere where we can get feedback other than, that's the thing with podcasts is like there's no page for it, So that's why the Instagram page is cool.
Yeah, and there's some like apps that are like trying to make that happen. Like people will do like podcasts through Discord or podcasts through whatever podcast app that is now trying to, bring in comments, but none of them have caught traction so far. Mm-hmm. So right now, the best way to do it.
Well, yeah, it's because people already have Instagram. You know what I mean? So it's like, here, let's download this new app that you don't have just for this one. It's like,
yeah.
It's probably not going to happen.
While we're there, download the Work for Change app. where all we do is post podcasts. It's actually very expensive, and it's killing us.
It's literally just an app that we just post our Instagram posts on.
Yeah, and then a link to other apps where we have our podcast on.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, and it's costing us a lot of money. So if you guys could
please buy our merch.
Yeah. We're getting bankrolled by this right now. Okay, so we were talking about stuff we were going to talk about before the podcast, and one of the things you brought up was your haircut. So you must have been really excited about this to want to bring it up on the podcast. This audio platform.
Well, I mean, if people really want to see it, they can go on Instagram or whatever. But yeah, like so for me, I literally, as you were setting up, like kind of doing the levels, I made a little post on my Instagram, but it's like about
what? You just shot a post out there?
Yeah.
5 seconds of just downtime, and you're just like, oh, you know what? I'll do a post.
With it. I'm quick with the fingers, boy. Quick with the fingers. So I made a post, and I don't know. I guess I'll just read it out loud. Why not? So it's a picture of me. Jean took it. Shout out to Jean. Appreciate it. I didn't tag you though, so you know.
Never do.
So I just got with a haircut, and then I just got some new sunglasses that are ridiculous. Again, you can go kind of look at it, but it says, the second I saw these sunglasses, I knew I needed them. And then I said, over the years on social media, I definitely fell in the trap of trying to be cool. I wanted people to think of me a certain way. I got to say, over the last few years, I've really stopped caring. I dress how I want, have my hair out how I want, and I'm so much happier. Be yourself, right? Cheesy kind of post, but the whole point of it was like for a long time, especially like with like YouTube and stuff, especially when I first got into YouTube, there was a certain person or like a group of people that I would look at, and I thought to myself, I need to be like those people to have success, or for other people to feel like I am worth listening to. I think you kind of know who I'm talking about.
Yeah, and my page.
Not your page. Oh. Definitely the opposite of that. I need to be as far away from Jean as possible for people to like me. But so I would always, I just remember at the beginning, I really felt like I was striving for this thing. And again, I was pretty young at that point too. Like, I don't know, I was 22 years old probably when I started YouTube. And just kind of still finding myself. So I saw that that's what success was, and I had that moderate success at the start, you know, with the video going viral. So I was like, okay, what do I do now? And so I found myself trying to just emulate those things. And I didn't like it. And so recently, like, I don't know, and not like super recently, but over the past, like, I would say year, 2 years, I've really just stopped kind of caring about like what other people think. Like, it's interesting. So I know this is very convoluted, but the whole reason I'm saying all this stuff is because it is unbelievable how strong of an opinion people have about guys that tie their hair up. Like, it's unbelievable to me.
Yeah.
I have never had so many people genuinely be angry at me for putting my hair in a bun or a knot or whatever you want to call this thing.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like, I think it's crazy that everyone feels like their opinion matters. I agree. That blows my mind.
I agree with that.
But specifically on that one.
It's interesting because there's definitely some dudes that I can tell are just like, I'm a macho guy, and dudes that do that aren't macho, and you need to be like me, and yada, 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 right? Whatever. That's fine. But it's interesting. What I find interesting is the girls that comment and being like, oh, you're so handsome, but not that hair. It's terrible. And like things like that, where they like think they're helping, or like, it's so strange, but it's like, it's been so interesting seeing that, because I've always had a very basic hairstyle. Like, it was a comb over, you know what I mean? And
well, there was a time where you had a bleached top.
Yeah, and people had their own opinions about that, but like that made sense. I think like that made more sense. I guess in my head
that people hated it.
Yeah, like, because it was just a little out there. I feel like, you know. I think the reason that it's so weird to me now is because my hair is the same as it was. I just am putting it in a bun now. You know, I did get it cut, but like, this is similar to how I would cut it before anyways, you know, like whatever. But it just is very, very interesting. And I've noticed that like, once I kind of stepped away from that and like, I was like, I'm just going to be myself and like, just do what I want to do. Like, it's just so much more freeing. And like, you feel like, I don't know. I don't feel like I'm trying to be someone that I'm not, which is very, very nice.
Yeah. A couple things I took from that haircut conversation.
Oh gosh, here we go. Here come the analogies.
No. Excuse me, but we recently had dinner with someone who said that they like my deep thoughts. So I would like you to.
Yeah. So we had dinner with a liar.
No, it was actually our agent. I'm just kidding. We don't have an agent.
Our agent, aka his wife.
Sam. Yeah, maybe. But that was not the person we had dinner with. Sam's like, I like your deep thoughts. I'm like, thanks, honey. Thanks, honey. I think deep.
I'm really deep.
Okay, so stop caring what people think is what I was thinking about. And like, I remember I was talking about, so I came up with this completely unoriginal idea for my church. I guess I do have a story that ties in, an analogy, where we were heading into the year 2020, and this was probably June or July of last year.
Oh, okay.
And we're planning for 2020. So we're 6 months ahead, trying to think about it. And I jokingly make a comment, if we don't do a series called Vision 2020, because it's the year 2020, and that's the whole thing, then we are really missing out. Like, it was a joke. It was it was off my brain, just whatever. But at the time, we hadn't heard anyone else's 2020 sermon series. So we kind of like, okay, you know what? That's a good idea. Let's start the year with like this is who we are. This is what we want to do. And it was a great series, except for the fact that literally every church did Vision 2020 in January.
Yeah, it wasn't very original.
Literally. And it was just like, there were billboards of churches by us who were like, come find fresh vision for 2020. And every time we drove by, I was just like, and I remember making a joke about it in the office. And the pastor was like, don't ever let what other people think stop you from doing what you want to do.
Yeah.
And like, it was it was just an off. He was walking out of the office, but he heard me saying that and he just stopped for a second.
And he actually punched John right in the face. It was crazy.
With his words.
Yeah. And his fist.
Yeah. But it did punch me in the face because it was so an offhand comment. But then I started thinking like, how many times do I like change the way or just not do something because I'm afraid of what other people are going to think, or I already know what the objections are going to be, so why go ahead and do it? And it was like a huge moment where I have decided, like, and I'm working on it in my life, like, who cares what people think? Who cares if people go, oh, like, that's the typical CrossFitter thing to do. It's like, who cares?
Yeah.
There's a reason why it's a typical CrossFitter thing to do, because it's fun or because people enjoy it. Like, these things don't become typical because they're boring, because people enjoy it, and that's how they become typical CrossFitter things or whatever.
So I think people need to know something about you, because you need to be an individual. So that's a big deal for you.
Yeah,
like you are
Enneagram 4.
You are the most. You don't want anyone to ever have the same idea as you, or wear the same thing as you, or anything. That's a big deal for you.
It is
saying that.
Like, it's okay. My individuality is huge.
But you saying it's okay for me to like something that someone else likes just because, like, that's a big deal for you.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think it's like, it is a big deal. It's something I'm working on. So here's where I wonder what's a big deal for you.
Okay.
You really enjoy generating conversation. And I feel like that's why you kind of like the man bun or the pea on top of your head.
The what? The pea?
The pea. The corn nugget.
Corn. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I was very confused.
I was like, no, that's why you like when people pee on your head.
I was like,
you just want to generate conversation.
I do like that.
Like, like when you do something that gets people riled up and
makes
stirred,
me laugh.
You really enjoy that.
I really do enjoy it.
So
to a point.
You had not long hair, but like your hair wasn't as short as it was on the sides as it is now.
Yeah, I got it cut.
Yeah. That's what that means. Yes.
Good job.
At one point, your hair was long, and now it's shorter. Whatever you want to call that.
You went to this place, and they used utensils and certain types of blades
but they didn't cut all of them.
It wasn't. They just cut a few.
They
did
it
also
in
styled
in a specific pattern.
Yeah.
So, but before that, it wasn't like that. And you just top knotted it as like a joke. And
it really was
it
as
got
a joke. Yeah.
so much hate.
Yeah.
You went, I'm gonna go.
It's literally
I'm
what it
gonna
was.
go further into this.
Yeah, I think that's part of it. And honestly, I agree with you, but honestly, it really is very functional for me. Like, because a lot of times I work out twice in a day, and I was wearing a lot of headbands, and I was starting to break out on my forehead. So like, I really did start doing it because I was like, this might actually help me. And then I was like, I don't hate how this looks. And then I think I started seeing, because like for a while I was like putting it up at like a palm tree on my head, like just straight in the middle. And that was really to be kind of funny, but also for it to stay out of my face when I was working out. But then once I was able to actually like knot it or bun it or whatever you want to call it, I was like, I actually don't mind how this looks. And then seeing the reaction, I was like, oh, these people don't like it? Let's see what they think about this. And then I got a haircut and so.
And you went like, you got the haircut to accentuate.
To accentuate it, yeah.
100%.
To make me look like a samurai. Yeah.
Or a Viking.
Everyone says I can't say Viking because I don't have a beard, which I don't understand, because not every I'm sure there were some Vikings that have the same struggle as me that can't grow facial hair. So I just don't think
I don't know. I never watched the show Viking. I did watch the show Norseman, and that was fun.
Yeah.
It's like a comedy spoof off Viking.
Yeah.
I showed you one
me
episode.
A couple of clips. Yeah, that was pretty funny.
It's a funny show. I highly recommend it. But no, I don't highly recommend it. It gets pretty dirty, but like
you have to be careful.
I recommend it as like, not as your CrossFit friend, I recommend it. As your church friend, I don't.
I have two sides.
I don't recommend it at all.
Okay, so you had something quite interesting happen to you this past week, right?
Gonorrhea.
Oh my God. John, that's the other podcast that we have.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Gonorrhea Media. No, so okay. I recently made the decision to take my CrossFit Level 1 trainers course. Mm-hmm. I'll get into the things of it, but the build up, like, why did I want to do this? I really like why. There's a couple reasons. The first one, there is something about being the person who helps someone unlock something they've never done before in their life. And the CrossFit coach is like, that's what they do day in and day out, is they help people develop skills and help them achieve something that they've never done before. And the sense of accomplishment and self-confidence that comes in mastering a skill that you didn't think, or even accomplishing a skill that you didn't think you were ever going to get. Like, I want to be in the front row of that every time. And so being a coach, one, it allows me to do it for the people. Another thing is that I have been stirred up by this podcast, because this podcast has put me in a position where people DM me, ask me questions, and the interviews that we've had, one big one being when we interviewed Dex, his love for coaching was like, so if you haven't listened to that episode,
it was so apparent in his passion.
Yeah.
His passion was very, very inspiring, not just for coaching, but just for life in general.
Yeah. So if you haven't listened to that episode, Dex Hopkins, it was an awesome episode.
They're going to have their baby very soon.
Yeah. They're 1 day postpartum.
Yep.
2 days postpartum on Tuesday when you're listening to this. That's our way of saying that we're filming this last minute.
Yeah, we are.
Monday night.
Well, there's a reason though. So
yeah. So anyway, I just want to say, like, for people who don't know and they don't, like, oh, you took a level 1, cool. There's been a long build up to this. Mm-hmm. And another big reason why I waited so long was I didn't feel like I was the right person. I always kind of like doubt myself. Mm-hmm. Like, oh, well, there's someone else who'll do better.
There is. Yeah. But that's with everything.
Exactly.
I have the same struggle though.
Good word, man. Amen.
You're welcome.
We can close this podcast
John,
right now.
I'm saying. Okay, Jean's crying now.
Yeah. So the fact that I'm not going to be the best, one, should not hinder me. Another thing is, you can think, well, we already have enough coaches. Mm-hmm. But it's like, if like the people in Darkside have been so, the gym that we work out at have been so like accommodating and so welcoming and so like, you definitely should do this 100%.
Yeah.
We already have some classes that we think you'd be good at. You know what I mean? Like, so it got to a point where there were more things that there were more reasons to do it than not to do it.
Yeah.
And I was just like, okay, you know what? I need to man up. And I was in Austin, Texas. And I was looking at the L1 because, again, I was just thinking about it, wanting to do it. And I saw that if you sign up within 2 weeks of the date, you get a 20% charge added to your fee. Mm-hmm. It's already $1,000. So 20% is an extra $200 on top. And so then I was like, Sam and I have been talking about it. And in Austin at dinner, I like tell Sam, I'm like, I need to sign up for this tonight because tomorrow I get an extra fee. And we were just like, okay, let's do it. So signed up for the CrossFit Level 1. And it was what it is. It's a 2-day course, 2-day intensive onto like what is CrossFit, what is functional fitness, what is health, what is the CrossFit technique, what are movements. Like it breaks down a lot of things. And at the end of the 2 days, you take an hour-long test. It's about 55 questions where you basically just test on everything that you learned throughout the 2 days, but it also helps if you've been doing CrossFit for a while because you kind of have that lingo and that conversation. And then it takes 7 business days to get a result, which was driving me insane.
Yeah.
I was...
He was going insane.
I was going insane. I was checking my email multiple times a day, just seeing if I just happened to miss it. Waking up in the middle of the night, checking my phone, going to like.
That's how I am. Like, have you seen the meme of like when you order something from Amazon and then 5 seconds later it's like the cat peeking out the windows? Yeah. That's me.
Yeah,
with
straight up. And so I was just like really ready to know. And then it doesn't help. People mean the best, and I'm glad they did. But you like go to the gym on Monday, and they're like, "How was it?" I'm like, "Oh, it was good." So you coach yet? I don't know. I don't know yet. Like I have to wait. And apparently the Level 1, they used to let you know the day of.
Oh.
Back a couple years ago. But then they said that really put a damper on the mood.
Yeah.
For a lot of people who didn't pass.
Yeah, that'd be
because some
really
people are like,
awkward.
high-fiving, taking pictures with the coach, the flow master and all that. And then other people are getting their bags and storming out. And it's like, you didn't pass and you didn't,
Yeah.
So, but anyway... 5 long weeks pass.
No.
5 long days pass.
There you go.
And I passed. I was driving on the freeway when I got the email.
So I came home.
I was stressed.
At 1, I don't know. It was like later in the day. And him and Sam decided they were going to play a prank on me. They love to try and prank me. Like half the time when I come home from the gym, they try and act like they're sleeping.
Well, I found out at like 4:30, so it wasn't 1.
No, I know, but what I said 1 during the day. I wasn't saying.
Oh, I thought you meant like 1 p.m.
No. I was just saying at one day during the day is what I meant to say. And I think I came home from the gym, and I'm like, I walk in, they were making dinner, and then they kind of start talking about something. I don't know exactly what it was, and she was like, so like. How much are you going to take the test again? And John was like, yeah, but it's an extra $125 or something like that.
I was like, yeah, it's $100 extra $50, and it's the next one's up in Orange County.
Yeah, and I was like, what? What happened? And then Sam was like, Jean didn't pass. And then I was just like, I was trying to be nice. I was like, oh, you'll be all right. You'll get it next time. Because I don't know, like I don't know how well of a test taker Jean is. And then, of course, he did pass, and they thought it was hilarious, but it just made me mad.
And like you said, every time he comes home from the gym, we act like we're sleeping. It never works, but...
It literally has never... Not even the first time you guys tried to do it.
Yeah, but it's fun. It's just fun to do. We act like we're sleeping on the couch. Yeah. Or sometimes he comes home and we weren't ready for it, so we just act like we're sleeping while we're standing up.
Stupid.
But I'm excited. I want to be the person who helps people. I want to be a person who people can look at and I can be a source of guidance for them. Not just like in my role at the church, I'm like that fit spiritually or whatever, like leading worship and blah, blah. Like I try to be that example for people there. But like now to also be able to say like, no, I don't care just about your spiritual walk, which I do. Mm-hmm. But like, I want you to have the best life you can have here, today, right now. And I believe functional fitness at high intensity is the best way to do it. And who does that better than anyone else? CrossFit. So I'm really excited to be just on this team, and I'm excited to be this coach.
So how do you feel? Do you feel ready to coach a class right now?
No.
Okay, tell me about that.
I mean, I think if I had time to prepare for the class, yes. Today, when I got to the gym, it was my first day since finding out that I passed, that I worked out. And the coach, Kyle, was just like, all right, John, you want to lead the warm-up? And I'm like, no. He's like, okay. And then I did it.
You said no?
I just wasn't ready.
Come on,
I was
man.
not ready for it. And so he's like, that's fair. But maybe, you know, if I was like, okay, Jean, Thursday, you're doing the class.
Yeah, I get that.
I'd be like, okay, well, I'll write a lesson plan. I'll try to stick to my...
And then it would fall apart.
No, I mean, I'd have it's a loose lesson plan.
Yeah.
It'd be like 10-ish minutes of warming up, 5-ish minutes of explaining the workout and all that stuff, 40-ish minutes of workout time. Like, I wouldn't try to stick it to the book totally, but I'm really interested to see what my class is going to look like what I am going to look like as a coach.
Yeah.
Because I know that sometimes when I'm speaking loud, it comes across as angry. And so I'm like,
that's true.
I'm like already trying to be very intentional about smiling through my loud speaking.
Mm-hmm.
So that's like, what does that look like? Well, it's the difference between like, all right, guys, so today's workout, which kind of doesn't really sound that much fun, but it'd be like, all right, guys, so today's workout is going to be, you know, it's like they're just different intonations of still speaking loud, but not letting one sound like you're the annoyed coach.
Yeah.
And the other one is like the excited, fun one.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I can't wait to report back with more information about what it's like coaching a class. But I do know that when I am a coach, officially with like a class time and stuff, I'll let you guys know. I'd love to have some drop-ins during that class and be able to work out with you guys or coach you guys through a workout, especially if it's your first CrossFit one. I think that'd be a lot of fun. But don't let me know before you come. If you've like never ever worked out in your entire life and you come on a Friday, it's going to be a bad day for you.
Yeah.
So
what do you feel like, because I'm just going to play devil's advocate. You know, I love CrossFit obviously as much as you do, and I'm better than you are. And so that's a fact. That's a fact. That's just true. All right.
Okay.
I'm just kidding, but I'm not. But okay, so the argument that people always have against CrossFit, right? Especially with the coaching and the certification.
Yeah.
Do you feel like being a level 1 coach, do you feel like you know enough? Like, do you feel like you are in a position where you're confident in your knowledge, or do you think you should be learning more before you're actually trusted with a class, like a normal class where you're coaching people consistently? Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah. So in a handbook, the way they recommend coaching is that you start with your friends.
Oh, okay.
In a small group, one-on-one, couple people, and then you get used to cues, running a class, doing that, and then from there you get like a smaller class, and then from there you move on to maybe bigger classes. Like the way they were talking about it at the seminar is like a 20-person class, you should have 2 coaches. Like you need 2 coaches. Like, but a lot of the times in a CrossFit gym that doesn't happen because you don't know that 20 people are going to show up. Some gyms have pre-signups and then there's caps and there's stuff like that. We don't have that yet. We're a new gym. Newish. I mean, what, 3 years?
Yeah.
In the CrossFit world, that's pretty young. In the San Diego CrossFit world, it's really young.
Yeah.
Not a lot of new CrossFit gyms have come up after us.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're still developing our systems, but like a 20-person class, I become a cheerleader. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to be trying to break down everyone's form and try to give like it kind of becomes like, okay, here's what we're doing. Here's how we're doing it. Like a proper warm up, for example, would be the place where I can find faults in people's form and recommend weights. So if the only thing people touch in the warm up is a PVC pipe, and then I'm expecting them to back squat, 135 pounds or whatever, like 300 pounds in a strength movement, like there's a fault there, and that's the coach's fault. Because the coach should be looking at what they look like with their PVC pipe, with their empty barbell, with 135 pounds, with 225 pounds. Like, you should be able to see that. And then once you start noticing breakdown or whatever, then you go and you coach the movement. If you have 20 people there it's really hard to see those warm-ups.
Yeah.
And that's where the problem comes. I think that it's a hard question. No, probably not. Like, I don't think that after you leave that level 1 that you know everything you need to be a good coach. But even they say this is literally the first step. Like, you need to be learning, you need to be reading, you need to be expanding your knowledge outside of the level 1. The level 1 is just the first step to give you that certification to coach. You know?
Yeah.
I think the best coaches are the ones who keep learning. I mean, that's the truth for anything. And like what I've been doing is I've been listening to a couple podcasts, watching YouTube videos. Like you heard, like there was a day where we were like doing toes to bar or something, and I literally had like 5 videos in a row playing of like toes to bar tips, and it's just to hear how other people cue toes to bar, and then okay, well that one makes sense to me, so let me try to work on that cue. And hopefully if that one doesn't work, at least I heard this other one. Let me see if it works for this person. And a lot of coaching is just like kind of finding the cue that works for the person. Some people it's, hey, put your chest up. Other people it's, hey, stay in your heels. Other people it's whatever. Or for some people it's like, hey, like hit my hand on the way up. That's how you know you're getting it. Hit my hand. Like people need different cues in order to do certain things. A lot of coaching is literally just troubleshooting what cue it is. From what I can tell, I have 0 life experience behind that.
No, but I would agree. Like because I have certain movements that people want to get right in CrossFit. So like with bar muscle ups or ring muscle ups. So I'll have people that will come up to me like, hey, can you try and like, can you look at my muscle up and tell me what I should be doing? And I'm always like, I'm not a coach, but like I can, if you have similar issues to what I had, I can tell you what worked for me. I always say, this is what worked for me. It might not work for you.
Yeah.
And yeah, a lot of times, like, honestly, what I say doesn't help them. And it's not the thing that they need. You know what I mean? And that's where I'm at a loss. I'm like, I wish I had all the answers for you, but I don't. Yeah. It's not my job to, like I know how to do it and I know what works for me, but I am not a coach. I'm not someone that is a gymnastics certified person, And so I can totally see how what the cues that work for me aren't always going to work for everybody else. But there is something cool because I have helped a couple people, like seeing someone get a movement they never thought they would get, or like finally figure something out, or like troubleshoot something. It's like, it's such a cool feeling. Like it's so hard to explain that, like that moment in someone's eye, or like that feeling in someone's, like I remember the first time I got my muscle up in one of the open workouts, like I was so unbelievably happy. Yeah. And like the fact that you have the chance to be that for someone and help someone that might feel that way and get that feeling, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. And like a couple, like I think common misconceptions is like a coach is a coach. They're not a cheerleader and they're not a judge.
Yeah.
And so I think a lot of people get stuck. And again, sometimes coaching is being a cheerleader. For some classes, that's what you have to do in order to maintain morale. Yeah. And, like if there's 20 people, what you're going to do is you're going to walk around and you're going to try to correct a few people. But for the most part, you're just kind of keep that momentum going in the class. But like a coach is not a judge. You're not going to walk up to a person and no rep them in the middle of their workout. That's not your job. Your job is to correct them to get to a point where those reps matter and those reps have good form. And so I think like a couple of those things, like not to be the cheerleader and not to be the judge, but to be the person, like what's a coach's job, like on a football team or whatever, is to get that team to succeed. So if you're a personal coach for someone, you just want them to succeed. And that's not no repping them and embarrassing them in front of the gym. Mm-hmm. That's giving them cues and working with them before class or after class to gain those skills necessary. A couple of the things, like a couple of the takeaways from the course that I really liked. One of them, and these are CrossFit definitions. So if it sounds like I'm drinking the Kool-Aid, it's because these definitions are from CrossFit, and so I enjoy them. The first one is, what is CrossFit? Which is, it is constantly varied, functional movements performed at high intensity. We all know that. That's not maybe, I don't know. Do we all know that? That's what CrossFit is. And so the way to get about that is you want to work on your mechanics, which is how you move. and then you want to work on your consistency, constantly moving well, and then you want to work on your intensity. And so a lot of people, I think a lot of the problems with CrossFit is they're looking at people whose mechanics have broken down and their consistency is broken down, and all you see is intensity. And then when you have intensity without mechanics or consistency,
you get on a fail video.
Exactly.
Yep.
You get on a fail video and everyone makes fun of CrossFit. And so when the charter of mechanics, consistency, intensity is broken, it's no longer what CrossFit intended.
Yeah.
And so I think that's where one of the breakdowns is. Their definition of fitness, we've heard this one before, is being able to, its work capacity across broad time and modal domains. So what that means is the sprinter is very fit for 60 seconds.
Yep.
The marathon runner is very fit for freaking 2 hours now, but 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, whatever,
or 5.5 like
or
me.
5.5, yeah,
and not. Very
I wouldn't
fit.
say very fit, yeah.
I was crying for 5.5 hours.
Yeah. So whereas the marathon runner will be fitter than the CrossFitter in a long-term workout, and the sprinter or the powerlifter will be fitter, in quotes, than the CrossFitter in those 60-second durations. The point is to have the biggest scope, the biggest graph of fitness between the 5 seconds, one rep max, the 60-second sprints, and the 3 hour, 4 hour marathon. Like overall, their graph is going to fill more space than the people who specialized.
Jack of all trades, master of none.
They specialize in not specializing.
Yeah.
Exactly. So that's kind of the idea behind it. And so whenever, I think it's really funny when people go like, oh, well, the CrossFitter, put a CrossFitter on in the NFL and they probably wouldn't, and it's like, you're right. You're putting them against specialists.
Well, yeah, put a powerlifter in the NFL too, and
exactly, because the idea is like CrossFit's supposed to be, master of none but good at all, you know, and it's like, oh, you put them in the NFL and it's like, yeah, exactly. They're against specialists, but you put that NFL player against all the things that the CrossFitter is doing, and you might see a different result.
Yeah.
Now in the NFL, they are doing cleans, they are doing explosive
freaks of
movements.
nature,
They
man.
are, it's pretty crazy. And then so the CrossFit definition of health. Oh, and then modal domains. So again, that's are you using that sprint? Are you using that long one? Are you doing that? Okay. Health is in CrossFit's definition that for a long period of time. In your 20s and your 30s and your 40s and your 50s and your 60s is your
and 70s.
70s. Yeah, exactly.
There's a guy Dave here that is 75, I think, and he can rep out 225 on deadlifts and do pull-ups. He's a beast. I love it.
So 70s, 80s, 90s. And so the idea is you want to keep that graph that has all of its fingers spread out as far as it can in all these areas. Keep that as spread out as you can throughout life.
Yeah.
And that is the CrossFit definition of health. Now, once you get to a certain point, you will start decreasing. But everyone starts decreasing. So the goal is when you're at 70, maybe you're at half your fitness level than you were when you were 40. But if at 40 you were crushing it, then 70 you're going to be fine. If at 40 you're sedentary and you're like kind of doing that grunt off the chair, which is what I do anyway, in my 20s. Not for long though.
We'll see.
Yeah. We'll see. I turned 30 in April. There's no question. What do you mean we'll see?
Oh, I thought you were going to say you're going to stop grunting.
Oh, no. No. Like, we'll see if you make it to your 30s.
I have a plan tonight, my friend.
But then the goal is like if your fitness level is struggling to get out of your chair at 40,
you're probably not going to be
at 70. Well, you might be 70, but you're not going to be getting out of the chair by yourself.
Yeah.
And so health is maintaining as big of a fitness realm as you can throughout the long duration of time.
Mm-hmm.
And so I thought having like specific definitions, because what is health if you just go and ask someone on the street, they're going to give you a vague answer. If you ask not just someone on the street, but you ask a coach or whatever, like in any other area, you might get like a vague answer, or being able to run fast, jump high, or whatever. But like to be able to say like, no, what we're looking for is fitness, and we're looking for health, and we're looking for wellness. Can't forget nutrition. It's pretty cool. It's just an interesting, like, to have a definition and to know for my clients, which I get to say that now, I have a specific goal I want for them, which is to increase their fitness, to increase their work capacity across broad time and modal domains for a long period of time, which is why I always wondered, like, what's the problem with steroids? Like, I understand not competing.
That was quite the jump, but I'm interested to hear what you have to say.
Well, because like, why do I care if you want to have bigger muscles?
Yeah.
Why do I care if you want to increase your aerobic capacity or your anaerobic capacity?
You want to
or
deadlift
your
10,000 pounds.
Yeah, like, why do I care? Well, if I care about your health, then I'm not only looking at your 20s or your 30s.
Yep.
I'm looking at your 70s. And these steroids now are going to drastically affect you in your 60s and your 70s. And so that is why it matters now. And so it's like having those definitions, one, gives you guidelines, but it also gives you boundaries. Because now you know that is crossing the line too far into.
Yeah. Yeah, and like...
Woo, I mean, that was my soapbox.
Yeah,
you like that?
you killed that, dude.
Yeah, that was fun.
I agree 100%. And I think that, like, as far as like an example, because like those are all great to hear, but like, what's the example of a person, right? Like for me, I would say like how I feel, like why I really enjoy doing CrossFit and the things that it's brought to me is that I feel like whenever I travel or wherever I go anywhere, I can do any type of fitness and be okay with it.
Yeah.
Like if there's only a spin class, I'm not the person that's gonna be like, oh, I don't do cardio. I don't want to do that. I'm like, cool, I'll do it. I'm down. I don't care.
Yeah, great. That'll work on my cardio.
Yeah. And then if I can only go on a run, fine. That's fine with me.
Yep,
like
still-
if there's only a bodybuilding gym, cool, I'll do that. If there's a CrossFit gym, great, I'll do
If
CrossFit.
you're working out with a power lifter and they're like, hey, today's my squat day.
Yeah.
You're like, sweet.
Yeah.
You know,
like for me, it's just given me more opportunity and it's made fitness. I don't feel like I'm stuck in a hole. Like I can explore everything and everything is within bounds, you know? And like, I'm never upset about doing a certain thing because I'm like, cool. If anything, it's something that I need to try and work on anyways. Right. And so like, it's made the reason that I wanted to do the marathon. It was like, if I was only in, you know, no shade at bodybuilding, but like if I was only doing my bodybuilding training still, I would never have done the marathon. It wouldn't have even been on my radar. Right. Yeah. And so like the reason, like CrossFit is the reason that I got into doing the running, doing the marathon. It's the reason that I'm thinking about doing a triathlon. It's the reason that I like am okay with trying everything else. It's the reason why I don't mind doing a spin class or going on a run or whatever it is. Like I don't pigeonhole myself. So I feel like I have so much more opportunity. And like that's why I like it. And like, am I saying you have to do CrossFit to feel that way? No. But like for me, that was the catalyst that made me start looking at fitness differently.
Yeah. And I feel like it is, especially now, like, do you need to do CrossFit? No. No one's saying you need to do CrossFit.
Yeah.
However, for the definitions that we just set, I feel like it is the most accessible and easy to use system out there. Like a lot of people, like a lot of other, there's like functional people who like you have to pay $300 a month to and go to their personal gym at their specific time to get stuff like that done. But like within like that space of like functional fitness at high intensity, like CrossFit's availability is so huge, which is why I'm a proponent of it, which is why I like it. Because before I was doing CrossFit, I was doing those boot camps at Fitness 101, which are not CrossFit at all, but it was like my first like introduction into breathing heavy and working out, you know? Another thing I thought was really interesting. Can I go into it?
Let's hear
it. They talked about like I don't remember exactly. So, but a workout plan. How do you know it's working? Is if it increases not just your, that's not fitness. Fitness is the wrong word. But another one is it safe? Is it efficient? And is it effective? And those are the three things you want to look at into your fitness plan. Safe, efficient, and effective. So how do you know if it's effective? Well, we do retests of open workouts and we do benchmarks and we do all that stuff. Is it efficient? Well, what is efficiency? It's getting a lot of work done using the least amount of energy. And that's like literally what CrossFit is about. Like forming your technique to get better. And then safe, which I thought was interesting.
Because a lot of people would say CrossFit isn't safe.
Yeah, exactly. And they even went, so they said, like, what is the safest thing, like on a scale of like safe to not safe? And they said that they would rather have someone working out with bad form than someone not working out at all. I thought that was a pretty interesting statement.
That is interesting, and I'm sure a lot of people would disagree with that.
But when you look at it, everyone who starts anything starts with bad form.
That's true.
Everyone. No one has the perfect squat right away. No one has the perfect deadlift right away.
Except for me.
You are the worst person to bring up for a squat.
Yeah, that's true. My squat's the second best.
But we all start behind Russell.
Yeah. I don't want to talk about him. He hurts my feelings of how strong he is.
We all start at bad form. Eventually, hopefully, we get to the point where we're now lifting with good form. But in order to get there, we had to have bad form. And we would have never gotten there if we never worked out. So, and then when you don't work out, that's when your body starts atrophying, and that's when you can't get out of the chair by yourself.
Yeah.
And so it was on a level of danger to safe. It is not working out, and then it's working out with bad form, and then obviously the safest is working out with good form. And it's like, it kind of like, and then so what's the role of the coach? Get you from bad form to good form.
Yeah,
And,
no,
you know?
that's interesting, man. And it's funny because when you first hear it, you're like, no, that's not right.
Yeah, and
But
they were
then
like, when they said it in class, there was someone behind me who audibly went,
yeah.
But then at the end, he like was like, oh, that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense. Especially like, that's why, like when I see people at like 24 that have bad form, it's like one thing, like if I just first time seeing them, whatever, but like if I've seen them for a long time and it hasn't improved, it just makes me sad. Like, because they don't have someone that can help them. Like, and a lot of times they don't want people to help them, which is fine. I'm not saying like I need to help everybody, but that's what I get frustrated when people are like, oh, CrossFit's dangerous because people have bad form. I'm like, okay, yes, people have bad form in CrossFit for sure.
Yeah.
We've all seen the highlight videos, right?
Yes.
Or the low light videos. But also people have terrible form at 24-hour fitness too. And they don't have a single person that's going to try and help them. And even the personal trainers, right? Like, you get to a point where you're like, I'm not going to talk to that person because they don't. Because let's be honest, most personal trainers, they're trying to make money, right? At least at the 24 I go to. Yeah. No shade, and there's nothing wrong with that. So if they try and talk to someone and they're not interested in their help, why would they keep trying to talk to them for free? Like, there's no reason for that, right? Yeah. And so they're not just going to keep. And some people, again, they don't want your help, which is fine, but they're never going to get help, and that form's never going to get better. And so like that's what I like about CrossFit is that one, there's coaches there, but there's also other people that do have good form that are going to want to help, or at least they'll be like, hey, that's not the best. Like, maybe don't do that way, or maybe don't, like, I've seen more, like, obviously camaraderie in CrossFit, but people look out for each other. Like, if I see someone doing something that I don't think is smart, I'll tell them because I have a relationship with that person. I'm like, hey, maybe use less weight or try this instead. Like, because I don't want to see someone get hurt either. Like, that's the last thing I want to see, you know? And then we have coaches here that are very blunt with people and like, hey, like, not in a mean way, but it's like, I don't want you to get hurt. I don't want you to get hurt on my watch either. So let's change that up. Yeah. So that's interesting.
And then another thing that blew my mind, I don't know if I'm allowed to say all this stuff, but I'm going to do it anyway. There's like a non-disclosure agreement. Ooh. But I'm not like sharing documents and stuff. I'm just like, no, all this stuff is available. All this stuff is available. I changed my mind. I don't feel bad about it one bit.
Okay.
That you have to, in order to get better, you have to allow your form to break down. I thought that was an interesting point.
Let's hear it.
So the top NASCAR drivers, you show me a NASCAR driver who has never crossed the yellow line, hit a wall, or hit another driver.
You're going to show that's a loser.
I'm going to show you the last place person.
Yeah.
And they maybe made it because they bought their way in or something. Because in order to be the best, there are times you have to cross the line, there are times that you hit a wall, and there are times that you bump into someone. It just comes with the territory.
When you see it with powerlifters too, like when people are lifting their heaviest weight, like that deadlift isn't going to look for most of the time, that deadlift isn't going to look perfect. Like,
exactly.
And like, when I see that, I'm like, oh, they should be careful. It's like, I get it. I know what they're struggling. The same thing with like, a lot of times we'll have like Olympic weightlifting playing here. just like some of the world championships or whatever.
Yeah.
And I was, because I had like that halo around Olympic weightlifting, like, oh, they're all perfect and their form's great. Some of their form wasn't that great when they're like lifting their heaviest, trying to get their heaviest clean and jerk and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I thought that was interesting. It's the same thing there.
Yeah,
It's like
exactly.
they're pushing themselves to the absolute limit. So form breakdown might happen.
Yeah. And so it's like a lot of people, and I've played this mistake.
Okay.
The magic is in the intensity for CrossFit.
Yeah.
And so I'll be like, no, today I'm just going to focus on form. And it's like, well, you're missing. It's the high intensity that's the secret sauce. And so for people who go like, oh no, I don't want to go that intense. I just want to focus on form. It's like, I get that. Maintain your form. That's where mechanics and consistency come in. But you need the intensity part. You need that. And so for some people, they're they're going around and they're doing grace and they're early arm bending, reverse curling, strict pressing up.
I don't appreciate you saying that about me.
Yeah,
okay?
which is 135 or 130. Oh my gosh. No, it is not 130. It is 30 clean and jerks for time at 135 pounds.
For men, 95 for women.
Yeah. And so for that person, you might say, hey, keep the intensity down. Let's work on your mechanics.
Yeah.
Because that mechanics comes before intensity. For the person who did every single rep perfectly and it took them 10 minutes, they missed the workout.
And that's way too long.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. They did it.
Yeah.
They did it, one every 20 seconds? You know what I mean? Like if that, like they kind of maybe broke a sweat. They did the workout wrong. Even though they had perfect mechanics and they did it perfectly consistently, they missed the workout because the workout is in the intensity. And then the last thing I thought was interesting, I promise, was fitness allows us to lift beyond our capabilities safely, which I thought was interesting.
I need you to explain that one.
Exactly. What is your...
I have a small brain.
What is your 1 rep max bench press?
300 pounds.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm very proud of that, by the way.
Yeah.
Almost 315. I'm going to get there soon.
How do you know it's not 315?
I don't. I actually think it is, probably.
Okay. How do you know your max is 300?
Because I did it.
Okay. But you've never gone above that?
No.
That was a bad example. How do you know what your 1 rep max deadlift is? Or what is your 1 rep max deadlift?
I think it's 455.
How do you know it's not 460?
Because I can't do that.
Have you tried?
Yeah.
Okay. Are you injured right now?
Yes. No, I'm fine.
So you were able to lift above your highest max safely because you've done it and didn't succeed.
Yeah.
So what fitness allows us to do is it allows us to manage weights above our abilities safely.
Yeah.
Because we've tried it before. And, that's why maybe you have a spotter, or maybe you just dropped the bar, or maybe you got halfway up on your deadlift and dropped it, or whatever it is, you bailed out of a squat. Like the ability to manage weight above your threshold safely is a good sign of fitness as well. Because that's how we know what our 1 rep max are. Like, how do you talk to someone except you about what their 1 rep max is?
Yeah.
And
I'm a weenie, so like
they know because they tried 1 pound heavier and didn't get it.
Yeah.
And so
and that's happened. I mean, that happens to me often. Like if we're doing a lifting EMOM and I try and if I get we're doing cleans and I can get 250 and like I try 255 and I miss that. Like that happens quite often.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So yeah, I get that makes sense. I get what you mean there. Interesting.
And so it's like stuff that we kind of know, but you hear people making fun of it online or bashing it or whatever. But then when you actually think about it, like form must break down in order for intensity and in order for mastery. It's about they call it like growing in the margins. It's the margin of your skill is where the most growth is.
Yeah, I mean, with CrossFit, and I mean, this has been basically like an ad for CrossFit. So hopefully they sponsor a podcast at some point.
This podcast
CrossFit.
is sponsored by CrossFit.
I will say, without a shadow of a doubt, I am more fit now than I truly ever thought I ever could be. Like by far. Like it doesn't even. I never thought I would be able to do the things that I do. And like I still struggle with like, I see people and I'm like, oh, that dude's way more fit than me. And I'll crush them in workouts because I just don't see myself as like a fit guy. I just see myself as a normal dude, you know? And it's like, I don't know. Like the reason I'm saying that is like, I really do think CrossFit works. And like, it can work for, you know, the person that's trying to lose 200 pounds that can't do an air squat. And it can work for someone like me that lost a lot of weight and was relatively fit and then just skyrocketed past that, or a regular guy that was a college athlete that hasn't worked out in 5 years. Like, it really is the same process for everybody, and the end goal is the same for everyone. And like, you really don't know what you're capable of. Like, if you're just going to the gym by yourself and you think you're working hard, I'm telling you, like, if you get into a CrossFit class and you've never tried it, like, man, it will push. And I still get pushed further than I thought I could. Like today we had a workout that was like really intense. It was 50, 40, 30, 20, 10 of wall balls, 20 pounds, box jumps, 24 inches, and 53-pound kettlebell swings. And there was 4 dudes. It was me and 3 other guys that are all pretty fit. And like, we ended up lining up right next to each other. And I was like, before the workout started, I was like, this is a bad idea. Because like, we're all going to push ourselves really hard. And we all did. And like, I like thought I would push kind of hard in the workout. But then once I was with those people, we're pushing each other. Luckily, all of those movements are relatively simple. So there's not a lot of form breakdown. You know what I mean?
Unless you got a bad back.
Yeah, like you do. We can talk about that. But like I really pushed really hard in that workout. And like, it was a great workout and it felt great. And like, there's just something about that with CrossFit that I have yet to be able to replicate. Cause like, I still work out by myself. Like, after we're done with this podcast, I'm going straight to 24-hour fitness. And I'm going to do my own thing. But I don't do that with the intent of I'm improving my fitness. That's almost like, I go there, I listen to my own music. I don't talk to anybody. It's like my own time.
Yeah.
So it's just, I really do think that like CrossFit has absolutely made me a more fit person than I ever would have been able to get on my own, doing my own thing, without a doubt.
Yeah. And I would agree for myself. But anyway, I don't know. That was what I kind of learned from the level 1 was just all that. And it was really cool. And now, like, now the question is, how do I apply this to my life? Because I just gave you all the textbook definitions, probably a little bit off, but
definitely a little bit off.
But those were all the CrossFit definitions, or the textbook definitions. And now I need to find out how that applies for my own life, because I can say it is safer to work out poorly with bad form than it is to not work out at all. But I also do know, like we talked about, that 5 years ago, I was doing deadlifts at 135 pounds with bad form, and I pinched something in my back or in my hips or something, and I still, to this day, am feeling it and had to stop the workout today because the way it affected my hips was just so intense that I couldn't continue the workout. So that's where, and that's the biggest thing that I'm wrestling with, because had I worked out with good form, that wouldn't have happened. But what if I had never worked out at all? I would not be nearly in the same physical shape that I'm in today, right now. So it's like applying, like, all these definitions are great. The trick is, how do I now take this brain knowledge and apply it to people's lives to greater impact them? So I have a question for you before we close.
Okay.
Why did you decide to help people in fitness and in health? I think for me, it's an obvious thing. I became a coach. Why did I become a coach? Because I was inspired. So that's like a pretty easy date for me. But like, why did you go from recording your journey to start helping people?
You're just gonna put me on the spot like that, huh?
Yeah, I mean, it was written down, but you probably couldn't see it.
I can't read your chicken scratch.
Chicken scratch.
You write
beautiful.
so small.
It's beautiful.
You do have very nice handwriting.
It's not chicken scratch, but it is small. I will tell you that.
It's very small. I think you do it on purpose, so I can't read what you have written down there. Honestly, like, I felt like
the transition from Obese to Beast is me to Obese to Beast is helping people.
Honestly, it just made sense. Like, I didn't feel like I had a choice, but not in a bad way. Like, it was like,
you heard it here, folks. He feels like in prison because of you guys.
No, like, it just made sense. Like, it was weird. Like, why wouldn't I? Like, I think that's what it was. It was like, my life and like I'm gonna get on a soapbox right now, but like
It's okay. I've been on it the whole
was
time.
fully prepared to be dead by 40, and that is not an exaggeration. Like I'm not exaggerating there.
Yeah.
Fully prepared. I really felt my life, everything I had done up to that point, nothing was working.
Stop hitting the table.
I had no I had no chance of, like, my life wasn't gonna go anywhere, and I was gaining weight, and nothing was working out. I went to college for a year. I dropped out. I didn't know what I was going to do with my life. Like, I felt like my life was already over before it really even started, right? And this is, 20 years old? 19, 20 years old.
Yeah.
And then I decided I'm going to start losing weight. And then I actually did start
And you don't
losing
remember,
weight.
do you remember the thought? Like, the thought you had, I'm going to start losing weight? Do you remember, like,
Yeah.
I know you remember the, like, what was the thought?
The thought was that, like, I've done this to myself. Like, it was finally taking responsibility for everything. And, like, because I don't blame mom, I don't blame other things like being poor or whatever, but I think I did slightly in my head, you know? And I stopped. Like, I remember I used to always think, oh, I would watch The Biggest Loser. I would watch, like, celebrities that would lose weight. I'm like, well, if I had a chef, I would lose weight on my own. And, like, yeah, maybe, but you don't.
Yeah.
So it was like, I stopped. It's like, so what if it's harder for you? Too bad. Like, you got to do it anyways. Because if you don't, you're going to die.
Yeah.
Period. Right. So it was like that realization of, like, it doesn't matter that it's harder for me. Like, I stopped being like, woe is me. It is what it is. And I finally came to the realization that these are decisions I'm making that are putting me in this point. So it's just, I just have to make different decisions, you know? And so, like, yeah, I started losing weight and everything happened. But then, like, I started seeing, like, holy crap, this is actually working, and I see a light at the end of the tunnel. My life is getting better. And like I always say, I'm not special. Like, you would hear it in all the infomercials, like, if I can do it, anyone can. But, like, I remember thinking that. Like,
Yeah.
so I was just like, why would I not want to share this? And then I shared it, and people responded. And so seeing people respond and seeing them be excited and ask me questions and me being able to answer them, was I qualified at the time? No. But, like, still trying to help. Like, that's all it was. It was like, okay, well, it worked for me, so maybe it'll work for you, you know? And it just slowly, like, I've always, one of my favorite things, and I think you notice about me, is I love to help people, but I like to make people happy. And I like to make people smile, you know? And that was a way that I was able to do that. Like, I was able to make people happy. And, like, that might have been me inspiring them, or them seeing what I did and they were inspired, or, you know, whatever it is. Like, that's why I love making stupid jokes, and I make fun of myself all the time, because I don't care. Like, if I can make someone happy, make someone smile, that's awesome. And then it was even like, it was like on steroids, because it was like I was actually helping someone change their life. And so it just kind of made sense. Like, I just didn't see why I wouldn't, you know? I was having a conversation with a friend of mine, and I'm like, it's hard for me to see people that have lost a lot of weight and they don't want to help a bunch of people.
Yeah.
You know? And, like, no, if you don't want to do that, I get it. Like, there's, like, maybe you didn't lose weight in the best way. You don't understand what happened. So you're whatever it might be, you know, you don't want to make this your life. That's fine. But, like, for me, it just makes so much sense that, like, not sharing it feels wrong, you know? And so, like, that's kind of, for me, that's the answer, I guess, is, like, it just makes so much sense. And obviously, like, I have a passion for it. Like, I think it shows in everything that I do. Like, I love helping people. And that's why I get so mad when people are tricking people and people are, like, sharing misinformation, because it makes me so upset, because it's not hard, you know. It's simple, you know. It's not easy. It is difficult, but, like, we don't need to make it harder than it already is. Is I guess what I'm trying to say.
So is that the transition between the content you used to make and what you make now?
Yeah, I mean, it's because for a long time, like, because the content
So before you were making tips. Here's how you do this. Here's how you do this. Here's how you do this.
And I still do that.
You still do that. But now it's a lot more like, is this real? Is this true? Can you believe this? I can't believe this happened. This person's doing this.
Yeah.
Like,
so it's more about, it's just, I want people to understand, like, just because someone has a degree, or someone has, you feel like they're smarter than you, or they might know more, you don't have to 100% believe them. Like, there's nothing wrong with questioning things, and there's nothing wrong with sharing your opinion on things. And so that's kind of where I'm at now. Like for a long time, I was afraid of doing that because it has brought a lot more negativity towards me. But at the same time, it's vastly more positivity, you know? And so like, I just enjoy, like you said, like I enjoy starting conversation.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of why I've been doing more content like that.
Whether it's about your hair or fitness.
Or about The Biggest Loser.
Yeah.
You know, it's all the same thing. It's all conversation that I think is fun to have. So
cool.
Sweet, man.
Well, thanks for having this brocast.
Yeah, also,
the
last thing,
podcast.
I'm going to be at Wadapalooza, so any of you guys that are listening to the podcast that are going to be there, come say hi. I'm going to be there. John's not because he has a real boy job.
Yeah.
And he can't just travel to the other side of the country on a whim. So, you know, he won't be there, but he'll be there in spirit.
Yeah, and I'll be there. I'll be at Jeanapalooza. It's going to be a blast.
It happens in our kitchen. It's pretty wild.
Yeah. All right. Peace out.
Peace.